Session number 9, addressing the client using friendly communication. Our objectives for this one would be to demonstrate some active listening skills. Let us know what you think of when you think of active listening skills. Making good eye contact. There is a happy medium. You know, you don't have to be looking at somebody like, you know, staring intently at them the whole time they're trying to talk, but you also don't want to be looking at your feet, looking at your phone, looking like you want to be anywhere else but actually communicating with this person. So there is kind of a happy medium. You want to try to make, you know, comfortable eye contact with the average person. And then phrasing, like rephrasing what the client tells you. So like when they tell you what the issue is, kind of rephrase it or paraphrase it in your own words and repeat it back to them. Make sure that you're clearly understanding what it is they're saying. And if not, then they have a chance to readdress it with you. Next, asking open-ended probing questions to gather additional information. We're in IT, we don't want to ask yes or no questions for the most part. We want them to kind of tell us what's going on because that's going to let us better diagnose. If we're just doing yes or no questions, it can take forever to try to get to the diagnosis. Also, we want to talk and be able to explain complex concepts in clear, concise, client-friendly language. And you think about what do they mean when they say client-friendly? What are they talking about? And then list and demonstrate 9 steps involved in assisting an upset client. All right. So 3 main principles you want to keep in mind when we are mentioning client-friendly language. 1 is that active listening process, you know, nodding your head, okay, understand, you know, giving some verbal cues that you're actually paying attention to what they're saying. And then we have the asking questions. And then when we explain concepts in client-friendly language, we want to make sure that the client is satisfied with the interaction. We want to make sure that we're not being overly technical unless the client is communicating in technical language. Then we want to speak to their level. But you will get a feel for that as you're talking with them if they have technical experience or if they are new to the industry. And then the 9 steps involved in assisting upset clients. First, remain calm. Don't take it personally. Use your listening skills because sometimes people just need to vent for a minute. Show that you heard what the client said. Express some sympathy. Like, I'm sorry you're having such a terrible day. Let's see if we can't turn this around and help this, you know, get this situation resolved. Apologize gracefully. Find a solution. Try to get that solution in motion and let them know what you're doing. Don't just grab somebody's computer and start clicking away. Tell them what you're doing before you jump on their system and start doing stuff, because people can get really upset and really paranoid if they see you just jumping in there and typing away. So let them know what you're going to be doing. Make sure that's okay before you start working on the solution, and then communicate your appreciation for them choosing to come to you guys to help. All right. We'll go over this again, but this is just kind of the preview. All right. So we've already learned to address the client using our spot. This session is going to be focusing on our active listening skills and being able to ask those probing questions and communicate a little bit better. And we're going to kind of wrap up a little bit more of some of the other customer service stuff we've already talked about and build upon it. First, think about a question. We'll do some shout outs here. How much do you think your clients know about the types of technology you'll be assisting them with on average?
Out of what percentage?
You
always
can
assume
say,
they have no idea what they're talking about.
always assume they have no idea.
I
mean,
would say
whatever.
like
I mean,
30%.
2%.
So they know 2% about what you're assisting them with.
2% of people know what something.
That's crazy.
You automatically assume it's an ID 10T error.
Mm.
Okay, if you don't know what ID10T, if you don't know what
Yes.
ID10T is, write it on a piece of paper and look at it. So, and don't ever mention that in front of a client because they may have worked in IT or know somebody who does and will not appreciate that.
I just wrote it on a piece of paper.
That was a big thing in construction, getting sky hooks. Test get an air sample, stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So yeah, that is one of the, and then there's the PEPCAC error, which is problem occurred between keyboard and chair. So yeah, it's there, again, don't say it in front of a client, but unfortunately, the vast majority of the issues you have are going to be user related. And so it's kind of a joke. It's the inside thing. It's the ID10T. All right. So yes, the majority of the people that we'll be talking to don't really necessarily know a lot about technology. So we need to be able to communicate with them in a language that is easy for them to understand. All right. So
I think the torch is in the kitchen.
now you may have some that actually do have higher levels of technology, but again, that will, depending on the field you're in, that may be the exception, not the rule. You always want to be kind of understanding when you're dealing with these clients so that it makes it easier to interact with them. They don't feel like you're talking down to them. And then if you hear them using more technical terms, raise your level of technical speak up so they don't feel like you're talking to them like a child. So you have to feel out their level of experience and then adjust your communication accordingly. No, that wasn't mine. My kids have never gotten into Peppa Pig. I think I missed the boat on that one, thankfully. Although I do never want to see Coco Melon or the Wiggles ever again. All right. So give me some examples. Why do you think clients might start an interaction with you already upset? So why would they come in already angry?
Probably something work related, or a lot of times they're just upset because it's not working like it should.
Okay. Adria?
They tried fixing it themselves already.
They tried fixing it themselves already? That always goes well.
Always.
Ninja?
Their kids or spouse might have done something to their, work, computer, phone, something.
There you go. We'll let Francis plead the fifth on this one. So they might have done something that they know they shouldn't have done. And they're upset because, maybe it'll come out now. Maybe they were downloading, movies on their break on work computers, exposing it to malware. Talked about that one earlier. Had one guy, kid you not, this was like 10 years ago, was using his work computers to farm crypto. So he would hook up these rigs that he bought off the internet, hoping that it would work well, and then was plugging them into his work computer. And yeah, his work computer didn't work very good after that. And his response was, well, I couldn't get it to work at home, so I figured I'd bring it here and try.
To crypto mine.
Yeah, this was several years ago before we had, we're talking like 8-9 years ago. So when you could use a normal GPU to do something, you didn't have to have the big, super rigs for it. All right. So a multitude of reasons. It could be they did something wrong. It could be their boss is yelling at them, like was mentioned. It could be they're stressed out because they just can't get their job done. You know, like I have things I have to get done. I can't go home until this stuff is done. This is preventing me from being able to finish my day so that I can leave and go and live my life. You know, a multitude of reasons. It could be that they've already been in trouble and they were told if you don't have this report done by this day, then sorry, you're going to have to go. So there is a laundry list of things why they might be already upset before you have ever communicated with them. All right. So you can read this one. Bubblecar, can you read for us, please?
When you are on the job, you will be assisting many different clients. In this session, we are going to discuss the best ways to communicate with clients so that they are able to understand the information you are telling them. As we learn to best communicate with our clients, we will also discuss how to assist a client who is upset. We want to ensure that every client has the best possible experience.
Excellent. As we stated, you will not be able to solve every problem. Some problems, unfortunately, are too far gone before you see them. But we have to try to help out the customer as best possible.
Sonic?
Okay. Help out the customer as best way we can and try to get them at least close enough to resolution or let them know what their options are and how they can proceed from here. Sorry, I have a little one homesick.
That's your first job, Kelly. Remember that.
Yeah.
You don't have to apologize.
So, I mean, he was sick yesterday and then today he started feeling better and he just got his appetite back, which means he has been nonstop shoveling food in his face for like 2.5 hours. And this boy takes two things seriously, and that is naps and food. And he will give you one opportunity for it to be polite. So he'll come in and be like, please. And then he'll leave and then he'll come back and then it'll be full volume. So, all right, sorry about that. So yeah, we want to work on friendly communication. We're going to talk about active listening. And we're going to get to a little bit more what that means. Who remembers the 4 steps to addressing the client? What do we call it?
The spot.
Stop.
Spot. Perfect.
Post.
What's that? Post. I can't. All right. So what does that stand for?
Smile.
Smile.
Smile. P.
Present
Present
yourself.
yourself.
Present yourself. O.
Offer help.
Offer help.
Offer help. Excellent. Q.
Thank the client.
There is no
Thank
you.
Oh, you said Q.
Yes, you did.
Ninja was in the wings, man. He knew he was right there on it. Yeah. Thank the client. T. Spot. SPOT. Thank the client. Appreciate
That's why I just kept quiet. I'm like,
No, excellent job. So yes. So our 4-letter acronym, SPOT. Smile, present yourself, offer to help, and thank the client. All right, active listening. So after you have presented yourself and addressed the client, now it's time to get to work. We need to have a meaningful conversation and work towards figuring out what the issue is. So now We are going to give you all an opportunity to let your artistic selves shine through. Please get out a piece of paper and a pencil, or open up paintbrush or what have you on your computer if you wish to do that. And we're going to go through some directions here. I'm going to give you a series of instructions. We're going to go through this twice. First time, I'm going to give you a series of instructions. You are not allowed to ask questions. No questions, no clarifications, no raising hands. Just need to follow directions, and everything will work out just fine. Are we all ready? Can we get thumbs up across the board? Let us know you're ready to draw an amazing picture. Worthy of the renowned galleries in New York. All right. Step 1. Draw a circle. Give it a few seconds. Step 2. We're all ready. Draw a line in that circle. Step 3. Also within that circle, we're going to draw 2 dots. Next, we are going to draw 3 lines that come out of the circle. Next, we're going to draw another circle next to the first one, but slightly overlapping. All right. So after we've drawn that second circle, we're going to draw 2 lines connected to that circle.
Inside of it, outside of it, does it matter?
No questions, no questions. All right. Now, after you've drawn those 2 lines connected to the circle, we're going to draw 2 small lines connected to the first 2 lines that you have already drawn. Is the image shaping out to be everything you dreamed of?
Do we get to start over?
We're going to run this exercise again. So next, after that, you're going to draw yet another circle. Slightly overlapping the second circle that you drew. I imagine we're going to see some psychedelic snowmen. Not sure. It's always interesting.
It's funny, that's what I got.
All right, now we're going to draw yet another circle next to the third one, slightly overlapping again. And we're going to draw 2 lines connected to that circle. Then finally, 2 small lines connected to the first 2 lines that you already drew. All right, let's see the magic. What did y'all come up with?
This is funny.
It looks like a nightmare.
It looks like a nightmare. Excellent, Enrique.
Oh,
I see
dang,
it.
Madison, what is that? Can you actually draw no human? What about this one?
There you
I
go.
followed all the directions. That's what I got.
All right.
What is?
There you go, Madison. That looks pretty good.
Yeah,
my
I
God.
don't know.
Thank you, shot. I don't know. Yeah. there
Adrian,
you
what
go,
is
Shimon.
that?
There you go.
Oh,
I have no
Oh,
clue
mine
what
looks
this
similar to
is.
that.
That is hilarious. All right. So how did you feel while, trying to work through this process? I know Ninja like couldn't help it. He had to ask the question.
Yeah, I wanted to ask too,
Yes,
but
yes.
I'm like, you said no questions, because I was like, what? Connected to what? Inside the circle or outside the circle?
Yeah, I had an urge to ask a question too for some reason, but after you hearing what you said in Ninja, I closed that real tight.
No questions, no answers.
That was funny.
We have a defined set of directions, and everybody here got the exact same set of directions, right? And everybody's picture looks different. So we're going to flip that piece of paper over. We're going to do that exact exercise again, except this time, ask questions. All right, we ready? Gotta reset my stuff here.
Can I quickly say something?
Absolutely.
From how this is going, I feel like what you're getting at is that questions give more structure.
Yes. And paints a clearer picture of what it is we're trying to do. All right, so first direction, as last time, draw a circle.
Where on my sheet of paper, or
That is an excellent question.
should I draw the circle?
I would suggest drawing that circle probably around the middle of your page towards the left-hand side. Are there any other questions?
How big?
How big? All right. I would say probably about the size of,
A quarter?
I mean, if you have a small piece of paper, a quarter, but I would say, maybe, or the size of a can or whatnot. So just a regular circle. Mine apparently got dropped, so it's, a little flat on
Alright.
one side. All right. Step 2, draw a line in that circle.
How far do you want the line to go?
I would say a little over halfway.
Straight or curved?
Have a slight curve to it.
Upward or downward?
Well, the line will be more horizontal and curve slightly upward.
Okay.
Give me the coordinates.
Hey Kelly, what step are we on? I just missed them. So sorry.
We're on step 2. Step 2. So we've drawn a circle. And we're now drawing a line in that circle. Is there any other questions you may have about that line?
And this one you can ask questions.
Yes.
What was the last one?
Drawing a line in the circle. So, kind of make it like that. Sorry, Francis, I'm not sophisticated enough to have the actual graphing coordinates for this stuff. To work on that for the next cohort. That is quite literally the first time I've gotten that question. Can you copy off my answer? Yeah, sure, why not? Okay. All right, step 3. Draw 2 dots in that circle.
Is it going to be above or below the line?
It will be above the line.
Oh my gosh, my sound is on.
All right,
Well,
so
Is these dots horizontal vertical?
horizontal.
Horizontal. Is these dots, I'm sorry, are these dots my fault?
No worries. I had the gist of it. All right. Are we all on the same page? Okay. Next, draw 2 lines that come out of the circle.
Below or above the circle? Left or to the right of the circle?
I would say on the upper left quadrant of the circle, 1 is connected to the line and extending outwards, curved. And the other one starts slightly inside the circle, comes out and also curves.
This is looking like an ant.
Starting to. Length, I would say, if your circle is the size of a can, probably about 2 inches. Let me know when everybody is caught up. All right, next, we're going to draw another circle next to the first one, slightly overlapping.
Next to or under?
Well, I mean, it's overlapping. So I would say the first is overlapping onto the second. And the new circle will be to the right of the older circle.
And can the circle be the same size or does it have to be smaller?
Excellent question. Slightly smaller than the original. Oh yeah, they're adjacent. They're slightly overlapping each other. Next, we're going to draw two lines coming out of the circle.
Which direction, Kelly?
Top or bottom?
Coming out of the bottom, the lines will be perpendicular to each other, one pointing to the right and one pointing to the left. Can't help you, buddy. All right, next, we're going to draw two lines connected, two smaller lines connected to the first lines that you already drew.
The lines on the first circle or the second circle we made?
The lines
Right,
on the second circle. So the two lines we just drew.
Right. The first time I almost added it to the first line.
It's a good question.
And can these lines go through the circle or
No.
around the circle?
They don't go through or around the circle, but they are connected to the first two lines that we drew here.
Oh, whoops. I was thinking about the other two lines.
And for added clarification, put them at the very bottom of the lines coming out at a right angle from the original lines. Probably just my drawing, Shamel, is why it looks sad. Because I am terrible at drawing. All right. Next, we want to draw another circle next to the second one we drew, slightly overlapping it. Everybody,
And is
this
this
one
circle
smaller?
smaller?
it's the same size as the second one. All right, next one, we're going to draw another circle next to the second circle, slightly overlapping.
And I'm assuming this one is gonna be bigger than.
Or third circle.
Repeat that, please.
You're going to draw another circle next to this, the third one you drew, slightly overlapping as well.
Is this one bigger or smaller?
Same size. Again, I am a terrible artist. All right. Next step, draw two small lines connected to the circle, or draw two lines connected to the circle, excuse me.
Is it gonna be exactly the same of the other two lines going at a right angle?
Yeah, that is about what it looks like. It'll be exactly like the other two that you have up front. So boom, boom. And then finally, draw two small circles connected to the first two circles that you drew.
One more time, please, Kelly.
Final piece of direction is draw two small lines connected to the first two that you just drew out of the circle, the ones you just drew.
Is this set of small lines the same as the first one? The first set of
Yes.
small lines?
Yes, it is.
Right.
Excellent, Enrique. There we go. All right, show and tell. What do we look like?
All right, so I made 3 different versions. I'll show you.
3? Okay.
That's the good one.
That's the good one.
That's the last one. There's the other one.
We're only seeing the first one. Okay, there we go.
And then that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Madison, that looks pretty good. All right.
I wonder what someone would think if they ever opened my notebook. And they're like, what the heck is this? Why is he
I think
drawing
it was DW where like he was laughing or something like that, and we were talking about something, and then you hear him go like, "No, no, I actually am in class." Was that UDW that happened to?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because my wife was working. We were working in the same room, so she was working behind me.
And he's joking around about drawing caterpillars and something like that. It might have been this very tea session that happened on. All right, so after all of this, Let me get to it here. It's not sure. There you go. How many's came out to look something like this?
Mad is indeed.
Yeah.
Mine was pretty similar. Look, Kelly.
There you go. I was drawing it out next to it too. I was giving you visual aids here.
I was like, man, what am I doing?
So the big thing is active listening. You know, you're able to ask questions to clarify and work through the process. So of these, which of these would be construed as active listening real quick? Paying attention, is that active listening? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes.
Taking notes.
Yes.
Can be, but I would put a caveat, be careful with that. Because if you're talking to somebody and they're continually just scribbling on their pad, do you assume that they're paying attention to you?
If you scribbling on your pad and you ain't look up, you better be taking the most extensive notes.
Yep, there you go. So again, this one I always say with a caveat. And usually what I'll say to someone is like, you know, I am listening to you, but I'm taking notes so that I make sure I remember what you say. Is that okay? 99 times out of 100, they'll say yes.
All right.
So interrupting the client to ask relevant questions. Is that active listening?
Yes.
Within reason. You know, maybe let them finish and then go back and ask. You know, like back a minute ago, you were speaking on this point. Can you please elaborate on that?
Oh, that's sweet.
Reading between the lines. Is that active listening?
No. Oh.
So when the customer is explaining the problem to you, you just go like, yep, I know where this is going. Please step aside.
No, this is not.
That usually doesn't end well, just so you know. Making assumptions to be efficient, you know, like I've heard this spiel 1,000 times. I know where this is going. No, that's not active listening. Don't do that.
Not active listening at all. If you have to assume or you have to read between the lines, that means they have not articulated their problem correctly, or you have not understood what they have said.
Here we go. Finish the client's sentences. You're so in sync with them, you know what they're going to say, so you just jump right in, finish the sentence for them.
Sometimes it's better to just listen.
Just listen. I was trying to finish his sentence. I thought
it. So not a good active listening skill, finishing the sentences. What about assess the client's level of experience with technology?
Mind your business.
Mind your business. It's like, before I can help you with your problem, would you mind taking this short test?
Because if you're savvy, you're gonna know from the way they describing it, terms they're using.
Well, that actually would be part of the assessment art test, because like as you're talking to them, their use of technical terms will kind of give you a clue as to what it is their tech level is. If they're talking about the modem and and my internet's just not working, you're going to respond to them differently if they say, yeah, my NIC's not responding.
Yes. Oh, that's true. Yes, that's it.
So you're kind of assessing where their level, so you can match your language to their skill level. Assessing the client's emotional state.
Yes.
In broad terms, yes. I mean, we're not asking you to do, a full clinical workup on them, but, basics, they seem upset, they seem happy, they seem, a little sad, So in basic terms, yes. So we want to assess their emotional state because that will kind of give us an indication as to how the interaction is going to move forward. Listen for unspoken requests. You said your computer was slow. I heard, please format my hard drive. I knew it was there. It was in your inflection, the way you said it.
Okay, Mr. Circus City. All right.
I'm going to give you the special King method. Okay. 3297 special. Format the hard drive. Your computer will come back to you like new with nothing on it.
Like fresh out the box.
Yeah, like it was fresh out of the box. No files, no movies, no pictures. Just like you first got it.
Okay, yep.
All right. Paraphrase what the client has said.
Yes, but you don't want to make it seem as if you are talking down to them. When you are paraphrasing, you will use terms that they'll be able to understand, and will show them that you understood what they requested and what happened.
Fair. You know, an urgency again will depend on the type of scenario that you're dealing with. Like if the client comes in and they have an issue that needs to be resolved, like they have a meeting with the board of directors in 30 minutes, that would be urgent. If it's, I can't log into my Outlook email, less urgent, because you could get them to sign in on the internet to the Microsoft 360. It doesn't work as well, but it still keeps them functional for the time being. But we will be talking about that probably Thursday with ticket escalation. No, tomorrow with ticket escalation. Excuse me. I wouldn't want to delay that one anymore. All right. So when we're talking about our active listening, we noted don't make assumptions. Don't listen for unheard requests. Listen to what the client is telling you. Ask probing questions. Try to put together a story and then paraphrase those issues back to them so that you can be clear that these are the issues they're having. Now, when I use the term probing question, what does that mean to you?
Open-ended.
An open-ended question.
Open-ended. So just
where the response wouldn't be a yes or a no.
Response wouldn't be a yes or no. Okay, so a little more targeted. Open-ended. You're looking for story.
Right, you're probing. You're trying to dig into something. You're asking questions that's going to supply more information.
Supply more information. So just, you know, what is the weather going to be like this weekend? Customer comes in and says,
Batman, he said a cloudy with a chance of justice. That's what he
there
said.
you go.
Yeah.
So the customer comes in, my computer is broken. What would be a probing question you could ask from that statement?
Have you been outside of the country?
How did it break?
No, when was the last
don't
time?
ask how did it break.
Well, we can't say yes or no.
No. I know you can't. The yes or no questions is only so you can like find something else to target.
My computer's broken. What did you do?
What did you do? That's literally the worst thing that you can say.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna say
the
that's why I'm
first thing
calling
to ask. You have to know what they were doing prior.
No, you do not. You never blame the customer for what has
It's
happened.
not blaming. You need
That
to
is
get the story
exactly
straight.
what it is. If
What you
say
did.
I mean, if they broke it, then it's
no.
their fault.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
If
Some
somebody
people are
admits
clumsy.
something,
Yeah, but guys, you gotta
can't
kiss
say
their
that.
butt. You gotta be like, okay, what are
Yeah.
the symptoms?
You gotta say
you gotta,
like,
you gotta
hey,
deflect.
Because if
Real-
you say, hey, what did
we're
you
not gonna
do?
ridicule them for
They
breaking
gotta
it.
That's
Yeah.
exactly how it sounds.
What
That's
if
how it
someone
sounds.
was
Well, it
drinking
depends how you
something by
say
the
it.
computer
Okay,
and
okay,
All
it
right, how about
spilled?
this?
Hold
How-
on, hold
how
on, hold on,
about
hold on, hold on.
when was the last time it was working?
Oh, probably
yeah,
before
there
they
you go.
broke it.
Probably. Another good one
When
is
was the last time before you broke it?
to get you closer to an answer as to what's going on. Okay, can you show me what broken looks like? If there's a hammer in the monitor, we can get closer to the the root cause. But if they just don't have an internet connection. So can you show me what broken looks like? Or can you
Kelly, I got a good one.
Yes.
Did they hook up their Wi-Fi?
I once got told there's a ghost in my machine.
That's just us checking on your files. No. A ghost in my machine.
Yeah, the user came up to me and said, there's a ghost in my machine. So
That's
I said, please
awesome.
tell me what the ghost is doing.
I will go down the street and we will perform an exorcism. All right. Can you please show me what the ghost is doing? All right. I mean, I always joked about that ghost in the machine whenever like they would log in and a remote takeover. I would always, that was always my comments like, oh, ghost in the machine. So that's pretty funny. But yeah, you want to get closer to that overall answer. When was the last time it was working? Can you show me what broken looks like? How long have you been experiencing this? Could you tell me some of the symptoms? Is it one individual program or is it the entire system? So our goal is to get closer and closer to that final understanding as to what the underlying issue is. Because we don't want to solve for a symptom and then they call back 30 minutes later because they're experiencing the same thing again. Because I guarantee you the next time they call, they're going to be less pleasant. So if they were unpleasant the first time, it will be worse the second time.
Say that all happy. Okay, you said that too happy.
I'm glad that this is the slide that we are on. You see? You must be friendly.
There you go. I had
Kind
to
of
be
robotic, and Adriel.
It's a lot. I've been through it a lot. I'm sorry.
So basically you're relating to what the client is telling you, you're building upon it, you're trying to gain additional information to get us, the information we need to be able to troubleshoot and solve that problem. So that's what we were talking about with probing questions. You need to be communicating in a client-friendly manner. When was the last time you talked to your DHCP server? We don't want to, necessarily ask questions like that. We want to be a little more, open-ended. Are you the only one experiencing this problem or is everybody else in your office experiencing it? Does your internet, like if you have are you working on a laptop or desktop? If it's a laptop, does your internet work at home, but not here? Or does it not work in both places? Have you experienced this for a couple of days or what have you? Have you recently been on a trip? Something along those lines. And it's important to try to avoid yes or no questions because the stories they tell us, they're going to be giving us information, not necessarily intending to, I guess. Like it won't necessarily be specific, but innocuous answers can lead to your solutions. Like I went on a trip, I was on a business trip. It worked just fine while I was there. It worked just fine when I was on the plane. But ever since I've been back and I've been in the office, I have not been able to communicate with the internet. I can when I'm at home, but I can't when I'm in the office. So when you're at home, they're hooked up to a docking station. And when they're at the office, they're hot sitting into different desks. So understanding the story or kind of getting those open-ended questions may lead you to, hey, have you checked to see if airplane mode is on from your trip? You worked on the airplane, likely got turned on, and you just kind of forgot about it when you got home and didn't turn it off. So let's check that and see if your Wi-Fi connection is still running. So It's kind of what we're going for. So imagine you're standing on the street and you see somebody outside. Woman comes up to you and says, "Hey, hello, I can't find my hotel." So you see that she's holding a tote bag with the name of a hotel on it. Could assume that you know she's staying at that hotel and give her directions, but you know that good active listening means that you don't make assumptions. So what do you do from that point? What would you ask?
Did you look at your bag?
Oh God.
That's a great way to come out of the gate. It's on the bag.
Yo, Brianna, I really hope that you're joking.
I
really
am
hope that you're
joking.
playing. Nah.
It could have
for
been a
real?
different location. So it could have been a chain hotel. You never know.
True.
But,
Yes. Yes. That's true.
So Madison's got it. What hotel are you staying at? Do you know by chance which hotel you're staying at? You know, if you're staying at a chain hotel and you happen to be in a very large city that has 10 of those chains, do you remember which one? You know, what street was it on? Do you remember a cross street? What else might we ask? I mean, you could flat out ask like, "Oh, is that the hotel you're staying at?" Pointing at the bag.
Yeah, see? Look how AJ was so quick to
Okay.
Which is slightly different than, "Hey, did you look at your bag?"
Yo. I've been on the end of these situations before, so it's definitely one of those things. There's people that just don't have they don't have a they don't know what tone is. They don't know how to speak in different situations. It's just they just say whatever they want and they're like, no, I'm just asking a question. Like, no, that's not how they're gonna take it, brother.
So like I've said it a few times in this class. I have very, very low emotional intelligence. Like I can't read people's emotions like well at all. It's not a strong point of mine. So like subtle things literally just go, if you're trying to be subtle with me, it doesn't work. It just goes right over my head. I won't even register it. But my sister is even less tactful. Oof. She, you know, is like a sledgehammer, and she admits it, you know, like she's just very blunt, direct, to the point, and doesn't mince words. You know, so
Is she in
that would be
customer
a
service
response.
too?
No, thankfully. Thankfully, no, she is not in customer service. She's actually a buyer for a company, which works pretty well because she doesn't play around. She doesn't play games. She's good at negotiation. She's direct to the point. So, but in any case, yeah, we want to get closer to the answer, you know, hopefully without getting the person fired up. So, what hotel are you staying at? You know, and then you can help them with directions. That's funny.
I'm gonna do that now. Brianna's giving me too many ideas.
All right. So even before you can consider what type of problem they may be having, what kind of questions can you start out asking the customer? We've given you some clues on these. So initiating the conversation with, you know, an IT situation, what are some good ones we would stop? What brings you in today? How are you? Excellent.
How may I help you?
How may I help you? Which is slightly different than, can I help you? That one usually doesn't play very well.
I see that you're looking in the section that I don't think you should be able to buy stuff at. Can I help you?
There you go.
I know that one.
Yep.
I mean, can one be what do you like about the Apple, like your Apple iPhone so far? I don't know. I'm just if it's to that, like if you're talking about a phone or whatever.
Right, because you could be, they might be looking for the next one. So if you know that one, you might know some things that they like. So you could help them with the next purchase or the next upgrade.
Are you able to show me what you did when you ran into this issue? I like that one. That's beautiful and Crystal. Thank you. Dry clean the keyboard. Is that an 1100 question, or was that in the
That
mocks?
1002.
It was in one of the mocks?
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's just like you guys were talking about, like, you were like, oh, maybe ask what's going on. Like, is there a hammer going through the thing? And I'm like, oh, look at that.
There you go. And some of the questions are kind of entertaining. Place the keyboard. But yeah, so you'd want to, hey, what are you experiencing any issues? Can you show me, what's going on? I like the one, what brought you in today? That one really gets you closer to that answer, and at least can initiate that conversation. We want to start out in the beginning being as broad as possible. And as we start to get a better and better idea as to what's going on, our questions are going to become narrower and narrower in focus. But we're still not, predominantly not going to use yes or no questions. We still want the open-ended questions to try to draw more information out from that customer. All right. A lot of your client friend or a lot of your probing questions will start with the basics, the what, when, where, why, who, or how. When did you experience this? Where did this problem first occur? What was going on when this happened? Not how did you break it? What seems to be the problem? Can you please explain to me in detail what happened? When the problem was occurring, what you experienced. When did this happen? Does it happen? How often does it happen? Has it happened before and you're just now bringing it to our attention? Just to see if there is some sort of pattern that forms in the problems. Like they may say, like, I started my computer, it works just fine. And then after about 30 minutes, it starts to slow down. How often does this happen? Every time I start my computer.
Kelly.
Yo.
When we are when we're on the, let's say we're talking to a customer and we're doing the notes, like during that time, let's say you're writing down what their problem is, not necessarily the specific issue, but what the symptoms are.
Okay.
As we are on the call with that person, if we see like a pattern and we basically can say like, hey, I see that ... has happened. Have you had this issue? And then is that kind of how we're trying to maneuver the conversation? We're trying to like control the flow of the conversation? Because I think that's how I'm trying to understand it. Like, it's not just about being kind or friendly, or
I mean,
we still
that
have
is
to be able to get the issue at hand.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, you're not looking to go into there. They're not looking to come in and make a new best friend, but they do expect you to be cordial, and they're more concerned about solving the problem. But yeah, we got to maintain that at least professionally cordial demeanor.
Yeah, like we're trying to make sure that we can keep the conversation on track.
Yes.
There we go. That's
Yes. You know, you don't need to hear about their 3 grandkids and what they did last summer.
yeah.
You know, we want
obviously.
to keep the conversation in pocket as to what's going on here, unless the 3 grandkids last summer were playing with their laptop and they were on the beach making a sandcastle out of it. You know, then it becomes relevant. You know, so yeah, we want to try to keep it in pocket as much as possible. Move that conversation along because they might not be the only client waiting to be assisted. In fact, it is rather rare that you just have one client, one issue, and then, you know, all the time in the world to fix it. Most times we are up against the clock trying to get them taken care of. All right. So we're asking these wonderful, awesome, amazing questions. Now, the hard part, we have to actively pay attention to what they're saying to us so that we can get the needed information out of what they're telling us. So even though we're trying to get the story from them, they're not going to do all the talking because we may pose certain scenarios to them, like, is this happening during this time? Is this happening during this time? Is this always occurring? Is it just one application? You know, so our focus is going to become more and more narrow the further along in the troubleshooting process we move. Sometimes you may know what it is right off the bat, and it's an easy fix. Hey, I don't have my password to get into my computer. Reset their password. Amazingly, they have that is exactly what the problem was, and they move on with their day. It's called the 80-20 rule with regards to customer service. You know, 80% of your clientele will be taken care of with 20% of your effort. The other 80% of your effort is going to be used to take care of the 20% that remains. So 80% of your time will be spent working on 20% of the problems. Unless you work up to being a hot shot like Francis, and then you are dedicated to severe and complex problems for the duration of your day.
Can you find a thumbprint?
Can I find a thumbprint?
Yeah.
With sandpaper and a pencil, I probably could.
They meant a thumb drive.
Oh, a thumb drive. Okay, there you go. Interesting.
Yep. The question was, can you find a thumbprint?
That's funny. I love that. I think one of my favorite ones was...
We're not just gonna just breeze past the answer you gave though. Like, what are you doing, Kelly? You're not just an instructor, yo. Come on, man.
CSI, they taught us all.
Whoa. All right. No, I understand though.
You get a fine grind on the graphite. You can dust it on something and then use masking tape to lift it. Doesn't always work. Which brings me to a security thing. If you have biometric thumb recognition, even on your phone, always make sure you clean that off. I love how Brianna immediately went to clean hers off. Instantaneously. So yeah, because the oils on your fingers leave an impression. All right. So yeah, just continuing on this journey. So imagine you're a medical doctor. Now we got to talk about questions and answers and stuff like so. Imagine you're a medical doctor and talking about our language. You're doing some important complex research on a rare disease. You have a colleague, a fellow surgeon who wants to know more about the research. And you would explain this research to the colleague in very, very technical language, right? You would use chemical specifics, you would use research data, all that stuff. So your language is going to be highly technical because they're going to be on essentially the same technical level you are. Now, imagine you're explaining that exact same trial to a parent. How would you, what kind of language would you use?
Softer language.
Softer language.
Mm-hmm.
So what about the child, 7-year-old? If it's a 7-year-old child, what kind of language would you use?
Cough, cough, take this, bye-bye.
So yeah, we're gonna be using much more simplified terms and language with regards to the study. You know, there's no real such thing as informed consent when it comes to medical procedures, because there's no way they can impart years of knowledge or years of study into a 5-minute conversation. So, but the point remains, if they're speaking to a colleague, the language is going to be drastically different than when they're speaking to a client. And if they're speaking to an administrator, they're going to be using different terms and verbiage as well. It's not going to be as technical as the colleague, but it is going to be more technical, but focused more on higher level data than the client may receive. So depending on who you talk to, your language has to shift. You have to adapt it. So when speaking to a colleague, especially in IT, am I going to need to explain to my colleague what a DHCP does, DHCP server? Am I going to need to explain what these things do?
Hopefully not.
No. So the conversation can be a lot shorter with the problem. You know, you can tell them just specifically, here's the issue, we need to go fix it here. Versus dealing with the client where we may need to explain what is causing that problem. So not only is it less technical language, but there's going to be more explanation involved. Like we're going to have to relate it to something that they would likely understand. You know, so come up with good analogies for common scenarios just to make things a little bit easier. Well, there you go. All right, so we got a brief one here. Stop, I gotta share sound.
Nah, that's not fair. You got to work on them soft skills, Brianna. What you mean?
That's an ongoing process. Again, I still am developing mine daily. Y'all should have seen me 3 cohorts ago. I was a lot meaner. SDW, he still has nightmares. All right, pause it.